Derp, much like Inky, has had a very interesting story because she was stolen like Inky was.
Well, Jonathan Perez brought her back to me to try to cover up the fact that he stole her. It saddens me to see what herpetoculture has become over time, not just with monitors, but with all of it.
Guys, are you kidding me? Hey, what's going on, everyone? We're hanging out with none other than our friend Tom Crutchfield. There's Vanessa Crutchfield hanging out with us. Elijah, Jerry's here, and today we're going to talk about the tree monitors that Tom's been working with. You guys know that Jerry and I love monitor lizards, and Tom also loves monitors, but what we want to show you are just some of these really beautiful species, and I'll try and talk a little lower. So here you go, man, blue tree monitors, and look at this. Have you guys ever seen anything so beautiful? So Tom, how long have you been working with these, Tom? Come on over here, Crutchfield. Get over here. We need your
Well,
brain.
I've been actually buying and selling them and keeping them temporarily for a long time, but I've only been working with them to breed for about 10 years.
10 years, okay. Where are these guys found?
They're found only on the Indonesian island of Batanta, which sits off the coast of New Guinea. And interestingly enough, the range of this animal is, all of it is about 100 square miles. So the entire island of Batanta is about the same size, is 25% the size of Lake Okeechobee.
Really?
So the threat of extinction is very real for these, because one single volcano explosion could just be the end of them forever.
Whoa.
Because you're in an area, you know, with high volcanic activity on top of it.
All right, so we're talking about a small species here. These guys are more specialized. Are they more insects and smaller animals? Are they eating? What are they eating?
They're all smaller animals, but they're, you know, they'll eat anything. Insects, little mammals, little birds, eggs.
Lizards, birds, yeah.
They love lizards. Yeah.
So they're basically just like you'd find any varanus to be. They're very opportunistic.
They are.
They're highly arboreal, and you've
highly
built.
intelligent.
Yeah, that's the thing we love about them, isn't it? The fact that they're so intelligent. But the colors, and you know, guys, you know, so many of you want monitor lizards, and a lot of times monitors grow very large, and they are not always suitable for everyone. These are extremely beautiful if you can get them captive bred, which is what you've been doing. These make, what are your thoughts on keepers working with this species?
Well, I think that any species that keeper works with, the first thing is they should be able to house it properly. And if you cannot give it a cage big enough, that's it, or keep it in a humane way, then you probably ought to decide something else that you
Gotcha.
keep.
Now these guys,
these being small, they don't require a huge cage, but they still require a sizable cage.
well, that's what I was going to say. Even though, look at how small they are, but then look at where I am. I can stand in here.
It's 6 by 6 feet by 8 feet tall from the ground.
Okay, and it's complete. We've got pothos plant growing, grass is growing, there's always running water. Now what I found, and with my cyclora, it's the same thing in iguanas in general, mostly lizards, is when you allow water to drip like that, it agitates the surface and it seems to stimulate them for wanting to drink. So that's a really important thing, and you can see it's very simple, just drips out right into it. You know, and some of you, like, they complain to me because some people see algae in my water balls. It doesn't matter. And in fact, Tom, I often think that sometimes we're too sterile in captivity.
I think so.
And when you see these lizards, they're drinking out of puddles with leaves in them, and it's created some kind of tea.
Yeah.
And so what nutrients are they getting, or what antioxidants, what disease-fighting, properties?
The only thing I would
have?
say is, in all the years doing it, I've never had anybody get sick from it that I
Exactly.
can see, so.
Exactly. So anyway, these guys look great, but that's not all. So these are the blue tree monitors. Beautiful, beautiful lizards. Very calm. They're just checking me out because I'm new, and they're very smart, as Tom said. But Tom, you also have some other tree monitor species that we need to see.
Let's close this up.
Let's do it.
Vanessa, can y'all come close this up?
All right. Here, I'll let her do that.
Yeah.
All right. Very cool. So you've been, since the last we were here, you've been really, well, for the last 10 years or so, you've really been about even changing up the way you view things.
Well, I do view things differently because as I have learned, I have evolved. I, 30 years ago, had no idea that reptiles were close to as intelligent as they actually really are.
Okay.
And that is what has moved me more than anything else, is to provide better for them understanding that mental health is in reality a very real thing in reptiles as well as just any mammal.
You know, I got to stop right here and tell you a story. You remember Jerry's black dragon male? That animal was in bad shape. I called you going on 8 or 9 months ago because Jerry was at wit's end, I was at wit's end, and you know, we had done everything, veterinary care, digging out the abscess in its mouth, and this animal wasn't eating. And you know what, do you remember what you said to me? I don't know if you remember. That's okay, bud. What Tom said is, Kenan, you've got to give this animal a reason to live.
Yes.
And so what did we do? We stopped messing with it. We put it in a big enclosure. And how's that animal doing now, bud?
Oh, he's growing.
He's growing. These animals want to live, man. If you lived in a closet your whole life, you would not thrive. So it's up to us to create these really beautiful habitats.
Go
So
in there, you can go in there.
I can go in here with these?
Yep.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
Now what
These
are we
wild
looking?
caught
Wild caught.
yellow tree monitor.
Guys, are you kidding me? I'm in here with some beautiful, these are beautiful. I'm covered in spider webs, but this is awesome. I'll risk it. I love it. What do you guys think of the yellow tree monitors? What's the Latin on these?
Varanus risingerii.
Varanus risingerii. And look at those long prehensile tails. They're not fully prehensile, or are they fully?
They
are fully
My
prehensile.
goodness, and then more too. Their tails actually, when they're relaxed on you, they stick to you almost like a gecko's pads.
Really?
Even the sides, yes.
Oh my gosh! So
Gotta
these
show
are
him dirt.
these are highly arboreal animals here. And again, you see how he's got them set up. They've got a nest box. They've got a heat pad under the nest box, and this is also where you're able to get eggs. And you were explaining something earlier. I want you to talk to some of us out there, like repeat what you said about how you're providing them with a place to hide and to nest.
Well, that's what that box is. That's a nest box and a retreat box. They nest in nature in termite mounds a lot. So and they want the temperature to be, they attach at about 85, 86 degrees. So we fill the nest box with cocoa fiber and put a heating pad under it, and it seems to work really well.
That's awesome. And
Now keep in mind, these were wild caught. These lizards you're in there with?
yeah. And I'm staying
a year ago at most.
So look at how tolerant they are of me, and that's all because Tom and his family here, they just work with these animals day in and day out. They put a lot of effort into these animals, and you can see that animals like this that are wild caught, that can calm down like this, means that they feel very comfortable and they have all their needs being met. And that is our job as keepers, as Tom would call us.
Correct.
To make sure that the needs of the kept, I'm using your vernacular, buddy.
Thank you.
Since we're coining some, Tom has coined a lot of terms over his many years as a reptile keeper, but the kept need to be understood, and that's our job, to watch these animals. Shut up, sit down, watch your animals. They'll tell you everything you need to know.
And then some.
Exactly. And you were mentioning earlier, which, you know, when I met Tom in Australia, of all places, we visited Australia together. I had to go halfway around the world to meet a gentleman that lives a few, well, just about 100 miles.
Right.
Yeah. And basically, it's the enthusiasm you have that kind of got us to become buddies. And that's the enthusiasm for just watching his animals, learning about his animals. And he was also saying earlier here, another thing is, you're how old now, Tom, if you don't mind?
73.
All right, Tom's 73 years old, and he was telling me, you said, man, I've got the last few years, you said that the
The last
knowledge.
few years is so great, and the knowledge I've accrued has made me completely change my philosophy, even on reptiles and keeping reptiles and all that kind of thing, because it saddens me to see what herpetoculture has become over time, not just with monitors, but with all of it. When I first started, we didn't really know how to keep giant snakes in captivity very well, but because they were giant snakes, we figured they needed giant cages, and that's what we kept them in. Somehow over time, we evolved, and we decided that giant cages, we found out we could give them life support systems in the smallest possible areas for them to live, and that they indeed will live, not as long as they can live, 40 or 50 years, but they'll live 10 or 15. Produce a ton more baby giant snakes to sell to the public that can't keep them either.
Yeah.
And then the thing that really suffers are the pythons and some, or boas, and somebody has to speak out for them.
Right.
With clout. that would be me.
Yeah,
'Cause
definitely.
I'm hard to argue with.
He's got a lot of clout because of the years of doing it.
On that because I have the data. I know
Right.
the wild data, all of it. It's just what we're doing is wrong.
Gotcha.
There's no way about it. Around
Green?
green tree monitors.
Oh my gosh. Are we able to peek in there, bud?
No.
Okay, these
No,
are too
they'll
flighty.
freak out, yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna
We
leave
don't
these
wanna
guys alone.
add to them being freaked out.
That's fine, but I don't know if you guys can see, there's a nice beautiful tree monitors
There's 3
here.
of them in there.
Okay, so you got a trio or
Yeah, male and female.
beautiful.
Can't
Awesome.
have the males together ever.
They will fight.
They'll kill each other.
Gotcha. So again, just I thought this was worthy of an episode because we love monitors, and these are such an interesting monitor. They're so active. They're so their behavior is so cool, and they're smaller.
Yeah.
So it gives you, you know.
Well, you can have room to keep that if you're just a person in an apartment. If you're willing to invest in space and
Right. The right humidity
but you
requirements.
can't keep a water monitor unless you have a whole bedroom.
Right, exactly. See, and even then, you really wouldn't want to keep a monitor in a bedroom
No.
anyway.
These are all blue trees.
All right, are these flighty as well?
They are.
Okay, so let's give you a shot here, folks. You can see the blue tree monitors. And you've been producing,
We have.
that's amazing. That is amazing.
And
So
she appears to be gravid too. So we're waiting
she's up
on
top,
her.
right?
Yeah. She's up.
I'm gonna sneak over here just a little bit.
Oh, yeah. She's not real well.
There she is, guys. So this is just really, really incredible stuff to see these species represented here in your collection. Again, very curious, just like a
Oh,
monitor.
yeah. She's coming over to see what the deal is. She's thinking
Yep.
you have something for her. Maybe.
Wow, guys, so this is really cool. Loving it, man. I just had to share with you guys a little bit what I get to see when I come visit Tom Crutchfield. And man, always a pleasure, Tom. So thanks for letting us check out these tree monitors. They're definitely monitors that you should look into, but just like all monitors, they require specifics, and you got to do the homework.
And if you can't provide for it, it's just better not to keep it.
Copy that. All right, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. Check Tom out on Facebook. He's on Facebook there.
And we gotta check.
Oh, we got to check out Derp. Hold on.
definitely.
Oh, Derp. I know Derp well.
Yeah, she bit your ear.
Derp.
Oh, there she is.
Derp bit my ear. So here's a hybrid. And Derp, much like Inky, has had a very interesting story
She was stolen.
because she was stolen like Inky was. And you were able to get her back.
Well, Jonathan Perez brought her back to me to try to cover up the fact that he stole her.
Okay, interesting. Well, we're not done with that, so
No.
I've got to wait before I comment, and hopefully I'll have more info for you guys on that whole front. But
man.
we're doing the Lord's work. Anyway, in more ways than one, with animals and criminals, it turns out.
Yeah.
All right, man, we'll talk to you guys later. Thanks so much for joining us on this episode, and thanks to Tom, Vanessa, and Elijah for showing us around your farm. See you guys.
All right, bye.